Let me ask you a question. Would you say that buying a house while living out of state is hard or, well, at least challenging? I think a lot of us would probably feel the same way. Now add to that buying a house without first seeing it in person. Would you do it? In this video, we'll meet up with a family that did just that. They made an offer sight unseen, and not just on any house, but their forever home. Keep in mind that they never saw their home until the day they got their keys. Later in this video, we'll unpack the pros and cons and the lessons they learned that they want to share with you. Let's find out if they have any regrets and what they want you to know. My name is Andrew Finney and I'm a full-time real estate agent in Las Vegas, Nevada. My passion is to help you make sense of real estate. Over the years, I've put my experience as a top real estate agent to work for my many satisfied clients and for you in the hundreds of videos that I've created about the home buying process, the home selling process, home ownership, and even real estate investing. This is to give you the insider knowledge of what to expect so you can succeed with your real estate goals. Now, let's get after it. This is the second video of a 6-part mini-series about buying a house sight unseen. If you want to go back to the full playlist, I'll put the card up here so that you can check it out. In my real estate practice in Las Vegas, Nevada, I've worked with many families who have purchased a home sight unseen. They have done so for a lot of different reasons that were important to them. In a few moments, you'll hear from David and Ann Wasser. They purchased their forever home while living in Hawaii. They never saw it until the day they got their keys. The question remains, why did they do it and would they do it again? Here's a little bit of background. David and Ann Wasser were purchasing their forever home in March and April 2020. Now you probably recall that was the same time that COVID-19 was being announced across the United States and nationwide lockdowns were going into effect. Nobody knew what to expect, nobody knew what was happening, and everybody was shuffling and scrambling, trying to figure out how we're going to adapt, pivot, move, and take the next step forward. Well, one of those steps for David and Ann was moving into their forever home. We literally closed in the middle of a shutdown. Despite the challenges, David and Ann persevered. Now they want to share with you the lessons that they learned to help you decide if buying a house sight unseen is right for you. Was it a good idea or a foolish choice? Now, let's introduce you to David and Ann. Say, hey, thank you for coming on. I know that you were moving from Hawaii and we were having some great conversation about how are we going to find a home. And then we started talking about this idea of using video. And what were your thoughts about that initially?
I was excited about it because that was the solution to our problem. I was trying to figure out how to travel from Hawaii to here, do all the essential footwork to find a place, and then go back, of course, and that's expensive. So I thought, well, why don't we just do this on the internet? And I got on there, started looking on some of the sites, and I found some of your videos, and that's what educated me. I didn't have to buy anything either. I just watched them, and that was great. So I could give you a call, and boy, have you lived up to our expectations. This is great. We love this place, and it worked out perfect for us. And I didn't even have to leave the comfort of my home.
I know, right? That's the best way to do a home tour is whenever you can just take a look at the convenience of your phone, your whatever that you want to view on your smart device. But my curiosity is, being that we were using Facebook Messenger video, how accurate was that video compared to what you saw when you actually came home here in Las Vegas for the first time?
Well, you don't get to see all the real fine details of everything. Like you might have nicks or scratches on the walls or discoloration, or you got to paint, things like that. We came into this. We've already repainted this whole place anyway, but that's what our intent was. But we found the place that we love. This is like a diamond in the rough over here, I think. We're happy. We're very happy. And it was so easy because we did it all over the internet. I just had a laptop and a cell phone. And, I'm an old timer. That you don't do it that way because I like to see people face to face and kind of get an idea of their character. But I didn't have that option. But after watching enough of your videos, I started to feel comfortable with you. And I'm glad I called you. So it worked out great.
It's a cute little nest egg. I love it.
Absolutely.
Getting back to that video, like we couldn't see the fine details. We're painting it the colors that we want and, the scheme colors that we want in every room or the bathroom. So we're just doing a little bit at a time. And it's
Okay.
all coming into place. Neighbors are nice.
Even
They say hi and
despite,
welcome.
despite coronavirus.
Yeah.
That might slow us getting our things here a little sooner, but
Right.
I can live with that. So.
Fantastic. So let me ask you, if somebody was on the fence right now thinking about, hey, I'm not sure if I would be comfortable with buying a home through a video as opposed to seeing it in person, what would you share with them based upon your experiences of buying a house sight unseen technically, and the only way you saw it was through a video until the time you came home?
Well, be realistic. I mean, when you're going to buy a house, you have to, unless you're having a brand new house built and where you can be there to kind of overview it. If you're buying a used home, it's going to have some wear and tear. And so be realistic about that. We were just more concerned about structural problems or mechanical problems, and everything was perfect. We had the inspector that you had suggested come over here, look it over, and all of the things that was on that list have been fixed. So I'm happy with it.
Fantastic. And what did you think about it? Do you have any suggestions to anyone thinking about buying a house using a video?
I just thought it was great not having to, spend the time, the money to fly and look and look and look and look, and then fly back to Hawaii and decide what we're going to do.
Mhm.
So this all being said, I think it just made our lives easier. We were productive every day, every minute until we go to sleep, thinking about, our move and how everything is going to fall in place.
We all know that every life has a story, and in listening to David and Ann's story about why buying a house sight unseen made sense to them, it brings up a question. And that question is, what's your story, and in what situation would it make sense to you to buy a house sight unseen? Tell us in the comment section below. Thank you.
So far, so good.
Fantastic. And I'm glad to see that you guys are putting your touch on the place and making it your own. It looks great. It looks really, really good from what I see already.
We've made a few changes, but it was expected anyway. But I tell you, this use of the internet and where you can be the eyes and ears for us was excellent. I mean, like I say, I knew there would be nicks and scratches on the walls. I wasn't concerned about that. But what I saw was the type of home, the structure, how things were sound. And as if I was there, I just couldn't see the real fine details. But that saved me thousands and thousands of dollars having to come over there and research it ourselves, try and find somebody and do it all that way. And
really, literally, that's the key. You saved us some money.
Lots of money.
Lots of money.
Time and inconvenience.
Lots of money and time, yeah.
Signing all those documents on auto sign over the computer was brilliant. I mean, for an old timer,
love the e-signature.
Yeah, that's great. I like it. I know it's been around for a while, but it sure is helpful when you're closing on legal documents and you got distance between you. And then, of course, we rented our notary service, hired at the end, just came right to our house, and they gave us all the paperwork. We signed it, and they mailed it away, I guess, and we own the house now. So it was so easy. I wish I could buy a car that easy.
And I just wanted to add, communication was the key to all of this. Mm-hmm. You did a great job communicating with us, even during the different time zones. I think at the time it was like three hours difference, 4 hours.
I'm a hard person to convince of things because I've been around a couple of years. And anyway, this was by far the easiest home I ever bought. This is the third time we bought a home. And this was easy. This was easy. I should have done it the first time. But, first time, you don't know a lot of things. You should watch your videos, though. People watch your videos, they'll learn a lot of things. That's how I did it.
Well, the first time, we hardly had internet.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you gotta get credit for that.
That's true. The internet wasn't there yet.
I'll tell you what. If you're in the area, it's wise to go look at the house. But if you can't make it, if you're living in New York or Florida or wherever, we're in Hawaii in our case, just do it television, by telephone and video. And
or if somebody, or perhaps if somebody is concerned about the current pandemic, let's say, and sellers are a little bit concerned about letting people in, buyers are a little bit concerned about going into a place. Would you suggest that this would be a good option, an alternative form, if we minimize the amount of people into a seller's house by virtue of allowing a agent into the house to do the video tour on behalf of the buyer, answer the questions? Because I'm hearing several different things that we're talking about right now, and one of them that was coming to mind is the video, as high quality as these cell phones and smart devices are, don't always show everything. But part of what we did when we did your video tour is we were also going through, and I was essentially showing you the same things and explaining the same things that I would had you been in person with me, like the sink stopper and different scuffs that I did see on the wall, not knowing if it was coming through. Would you say having that point of view, having somebody right there on the spot with a video and taking the time to do that would be helpful if somebody is trying to buy a house right now in a pandemic, even if they're local?
Without question. In fact, this situation probably was perfect for this kind of conditions. We weren't in the pandemic at the time we started, but by the time we finished, we were. And so this is how we would have had to do it if we'd have waited another 2 to 3 weeks.
Exactly.
But right now, interest rates are so low, it'd be a great time to buy. And this is a good way to do it on the internet. There's very rare, is there any contact between people? We met with the notary, but easily we could sit 6 feet apart. We didn't have to do that when we signed because it hadn't quite started yet, but now we would have had to do that. But other than that, it's all over the internet. So, I mean, it's the perfect way to do it. If you feel comfortable enough or you want to go out and look at the house, if you're available, I would suggest doing that. But if you can't, like in our case, then this is the way to do it. And with the pandemic, can't go anywhere anyway.
It's
You're
just
buying a house,
amazing.
do it this way.
It's amazing what we got accomplished
It is.
doing this, you know.
How fast it is, because there's no waiting periods between signatures.
Literally 1 month. And I remember the dates because Valentine's Day is when we got the house and the closing was on St. Patty's Day.
So what I hear you saying is that to pull this off successfully, from your experience, it really takes trust with the person you're working with. It also takes great communication. And as a couple of benefits to the whole process, it saved you time, being that you didn't have to fly back and forth from here to Hawaii, which saved you money, and it added to your peace of mind of knowing that you had the right people working for you. Would that be kind of a summary, like a 5-point summary?
I would say so.
Yes.
That, like I say, that went smooth as I had ever done it before. And your point about this pandemic is an excellent time to try this. If you're serious about buying a house, you can see it all through the eyes of somebody else that you trust. And that's where you came in for us. I never knew you before I started seeing your videos, but I encourage anybody, just get online, go watch your videos. And, you know, if you like him, hire him. If not, watch somebody else's videos. But that's how easy it is. But anyway, that's how we found Andrew. And it has been an experience beyond our belief. I mean, this worked out so well. It would have worked even with the pandemic. So I guess it's kind of it was a dry run, I guess, for anybody that would want to try it. And I would recommend it. It was so easy for us.
So thank you so much for agreeing to come on and share your experiences about what it was like to buy a house sight unseen. I think it's so powerful. Not just like with me here personally here in Las Vegas, Nevada, but for any agent across the country, any buyer, any seller, there are always ways if we think outside the box and we come together to protect each other. We're always stronger and better together than we are not. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on with me and having this conversation. It's really, really meaningful. And I know that our friendship will only continue to grow and to flourish into the future. By the way, those chocolates were amazing.
Thank you so much for all you did for us. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
We're very grateful.
Mahalo,
You did everything
mahalo.
we asked and more. So
Yeah, thank you.
I tell you what, I would recommend you, Andrew, to anybody. So thanks.
Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Wow, that was some really good stuff. I am so glad that you were able to meet up with David and Ann Wasser and hear about their story about buying a house sight unseen. Now it's time to unpack the pros and cons and the lessons learned. I heard David and Ann share 4 pros to 1 con. In the pros column, David had shared with us that it saved them a lot of money in travel, especially from a long distance. He's not just kidding either. I did a quick Google search just to see how much it would cost on average for a round trip from Hawaii to Las Vegas, and I found that it cost an average of $398 for a single round trip flight. And then I was thinking, okay, well, once you get to Vegas, you gotta have a place to stay, right? Well, the average cost of a hotel room at the same time that they were purchasing their new home was about $175 a night. So this means if they came to town just for 3 days to go into like uber focused, hyper focused home search mode, they would have spent a whopping $905 to $925 before eating. That's a lot of money. Now, think about the closing process and how it worked. In general, they would have probably been out here 2 to 3 times during the closing process itself. So by virtue of being able to buy a house sight unseen, they saved a minimum of $2,700 on travel-related expenses. Something to think about, and it's something to consider. The second pro is that David and Ann both said, hey, this was really easy and super convenient. The third pro was that it was very effective and time efficient for them. And pro number 4, as Ann said, is it simply made their lives a lot easier. The one con that I heard David share with us is that some of the smaller details kind of get lost in the middle of a video, and sometimes it's a little bit harder to visualize the conversation that we're having and exactly what I'm referencing during a home tour. So be aware to be realistic here and keep that in mind that sometimes a video may not show every single minute detail. This is where strong communication with your trusted real estate advisor will be very, very helpful for you. Now, they also shared 7 really important lessons with us that we can learn from. The first lesson is to simply be realistic. A used home will have minor imperfections, so might as well expect it. The second lesson learned is that having the right agent working with you is critically important. Your trusted real estate advisor in this case, like David said, will be your trusted eyes and your trusted ears. Getting this one right is super important. The third lesson learned is that digital signatures and mobile notaries made the process essential and made it very, very efficient and effective for them. The fourth lesson learned was that communication is always tops. You know, in the United States Marine Corps, we were always taught that effective communication and open communication is the way that you make a mission happen, and it's how you get things done. Now, that is something that I've always brought with me into real estate, and perhaps one of the reasons that go into making all these videos is to simply communicate the process to help people. In David and Ann's case, we had to take it a little bit further and be cognizant of the time differences in between Las Vegas, Nevada and Hawaii. Make sure that you have that open dialogue and be respectful of each other's time zones. The fifth lesson learned is convenience. David said that they have purchased several different homes over the course of their lifetime, but this time it was the easiest time they ever had buying a house. The sixth lesson learned are about home buying realities. Now, David and Ann both shared that had they been in Las Vegas, Nevada, they would have of course appreciated going out and viewing the homes in person. But because of their situation, because of the cost of travel, it made a lot of sense for them to use video, to use technology to purchase their new home sight unseen. Now, just keep that in mind that if you are in the city and you are able to view a home in person, they are suggesting that you go ahead and take up that option. If for some reason your situation doesn't dictate that, then they're saying this is the next best option. The seventh lesson learned is that experience counts. They shared with us they were absolutely amazed how fast and how efficiently they were able to find their forever home, and that strong communication with the agent that you choose to work with, your trusted real estate advisor, is massively important. To have that strength in communication, have that trust, and have that open dialogue at any time to be able to ensure that you're making a well-informed decision that's right for you. As we land the plane here, if you're ready to go deeper and you're ready to learn even more, click here to be able to hear from a Gen Xer that was buying a house in a super competitive seller's market. Every offer they made, it was a day late, a dollar short. We'll find out how they stacked the deck in their favor to hit the jackpot with their new home. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.